Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers. Today I'm going to be doing a one-year review of our Westinghouse iGen2500. And let me just tell you up front, it's going to be kind of a mixed bag. I'm not using it today for two reasons. One is it's beautiful and sunny, and we're pulling in enough solar even though this is July. We're in Colorado. We're at 8,600 feet. And that's the other reason I'm not running the generator, is because we're over 8,000 feet. The pros. If you watched our 6-week West Coast adventure, I'll put a link to those videos. But we carried both generators, the 2200, the Westinghouse iGen2500, and the 25. And in April in Phoenix, we ran them in parallel. We had air conditioning while we were boondocking, and life was great. And that trip, as we went up the West Coast, you know, in May, it was rainy a lot. And so I have a little thing that I set up to keep the generators dry, so I can cover them and we can still run the generators, charge batteries, do whatever we need to do. And so I would alternate which generator I got out to charge the batteries, etc., because we use our generators to supplement the solar that we have with our RV. This generator has, this hour meter I put on shows 49 hours. I did not realize that I couldn't see the hour meter on this one unless it was running. I like knowing, you know, how many hours are on it when it's not running. So it's 5 hours behind what's actually on the generator. So this has almost 55 hours on the generator for this first year. So we've used it. And like I said, there's been some positive. What was really frustrating to me, though, was on the way home, we'd had several days where it was cloudy, but we hadn't unhitched. We hadn't gotten out the solar suitcase to charge our house battery. And I wanted to just get the generator out, top off that battery. And I would get it, and it would run for about 5 or 10 seconds, and then it would die. And I did that 2 or 3 times. I was so frustrated and angry, and spoiler alert, we were stopped near Bears Ears, near Natural Bridges National Monument in southeast Utah. And we were over 8,000 feet. We were right at 8,000 feet. Inverter generators do not function well at high altitude. There is a workaround, and Westinghouse gives good directions on how to do this, but essentially you're taking the generator apart, removing the carburetor, and then there is a needle inside of the carburetor. They call it a kit, but you then take that needle out, replace it with a different one that allows more oxygen to mix with the gasoline, and it will run at those higher altitudes. But then whenever you go back down to the lower altitudes, you need to once again take the generator apart, take the carburetor out, replace the needle with the one that is at lower altitudes. And so what happened on that trip is the 2200 actually fired up at that high altitude. I did not put a big load on it, but it fired up enough to charge up our batteries, which is what I was wanting to do. And so my thought was, since I have one generator that actually will at least start at a higher altitude, I'm not messing with anything else. They ran perfectly in parallel in Phoenix. We were able to have our air conditioner, and that's why we had both of them. And so that's been the big down thing, was the fact that, you know, when I got ready and I really needed a generator, it didn't start. But it's not just the Westinghouse. That's going to be something, if you look at the specifications for inverter generators, that's one of the things you're going to see. And so 50 plus hours in the first year. Used it in the fall on the trip we took to Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee. That area, we used it quite a bit then. And then used it on our West Coast trip. And so you know, it's been doing what we got it to do. And I hope this, like I said, I wanted to go on and tell you the frustration that I experienced, and just to follow up on that. Thankfully, I mean, I was so frustrated and so angry, and it took me about 2 days to realize it was the altitude. And by the time I realized it, we were back, and we were actually in Muleshoe, Texas. Elevation there, I'm guessing, is like around 800 feet. And so I just got it out in a parking lot there and thought, okay, if this thing cranks, then we're good. And it fired right up. So that's been the big frustration that I had. But like I said, from what I understand, it's common with all inverter generators. If you live at a high altitude, you can get that kit, replace it, and then it should work for you. But that's been my experience with the Westinghouse iGen2500 during my first year. And if you are looking at the generator, hope this helps you make an informed decision. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.